Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. There we go. And of course, a hearty welcome and good morning to everyone joining us from all around the world. It's so exciting for us to have people joining us. We've got folks in Canada, we have folks in Puerto Rico, we have folks just and all over joining us. So it's such a delight that our little Sangha is not so little anymore, growing each and every day. So I want to, of course, congratulate everyone. Here we are. We made it through the first quarter of the year, and here we are, growing, learning, changing. Happy continuation day to anybody in April who's having a birthday. happy all kinds of things. The talk today, many of you will probably recognize because it's been all over everything, the news, magazines, conversation at work. In the weeks leading up to the eclipse, we were showered with all kinds of interesting words and technical terms, scientific analysis, and through all of that, Victor heard blah, 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 path of totality, blah, 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 blah. I have the same problem with many movies. For example, Bill and Ted's Adventure, the whole movie was blah, blah, blah. Everyone be excellent to each other and party on, blah, 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 blah. And I even had the same problem with the Terminator, blah, 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 I'll be back, blah, 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 blah. So I just tend to hear the Buddhist-y things and stuff. I don't know what that is. So the great teacher, Kalu Rinpoche, said in one of his Dharma talks, "We live in illusion and the appearance of things. There is a reality. We are that reality. And when you understand this, you see that you are nothing. And in being nothing, you become everything. That is all." I'm still trying to figure out how we got a whole Dharma talk inside of 1 minute, because I struggle to get him in 30 minutes. But of course, a deep and a beautiful teaching. In seeing that you are nothing, you become everything. So that everything is the totality that I speak of today. Not seeking to be in the path of totality, but realizing we are on the path of totality. As the great teacher Ram Dass always liked to use to say, we're all just walking each other home because we live in the same place. I'm adding that, he didn't add that. Because we live in the same place, the present moment. Not only do we live in the same place, but we are the same. Different bodies, different locations, but that which is aware is universal. The consciousness coming through Keith is the same consciousness coming through Laura or Mary. The consciousness coming through Karen is the same consciousness coming through Steve. So Brother Fopneum from the Plum Village tradition did a great talk about an orange, believe it or not. And he holds up an orange and he says, we see an orange and we think, oh, an orange, and that's it. We just have this little label. We do this with people. We do this with things. We do this with situations and experiences. And so we think that we know orange, and that's the end of the story. We think that we know somebody, and that's the end of it. But the thing that we call an orange is actually only an appearance. Remember what Kalu Rinpoche said. We live in illusion, and the appearance of things. Brother Fopp said that the orange, the thing that we know, that we call an orange, is only an appearance. Looking with Dharma eyes, in the same way that I hear movies and things with Dharma ears and just pick out certain things, in looking with Dharma eyes, we see that the orange isn't what we think it is. It is not a separate entity. It is not solid or permanent. The orange is made of all the elements that created it: sunshine, rain, dirt, insects, the farmers that fertilized and tended the trees. The orange is also made of all the elements that created these elements: the clouds that changed into rain, the farmer's mom and dad. The orange is also all the elements that it will become. The orange will become the worms that eat the rinds. The orange will become you who eat the juicy wedges on the inside. In the great kaleidoscope of life, none of us can exist without all the others. But it gets even deeper than that, because each of us is all of the others. So really, there are no others. Brother Fopp went on to explain that inside of you, you can find everything. There is only one thing inside of you that you cannot find, or there is one thing within you that does not contain this one thing, and that one thing is a self. This is a Zen master's way of saying that you are purely made of stuff that isn't you. Everything that seems to be outside of you is actually part of you. There was even a great quote from a rap song that said, "Everything I am not has made me everything that I am." The fancy spiritual term for this is non-duality, oneness, or totality. Some people have had direct experiences with totality. They have realized their true self, inclusive of everything and everyone, in moments of divine interbeing. Thich Nhat Hanh likes to say, we inter-are. I had a great conversation with Robert a few months back where we were sitting around having pizza, playing chess, and we were talking about enlightenment. And I told Robert, I don't really know what enlightenment is. I'm not sure that I am enlightened, but I have had experiences, fleeting, glimpsing moments where I was everything and everything was me. They don't last long, but they're enough to help me realize that there is a different way of being in the world. A way of being that is not divisive, that is not separate from everybody else and everything else. A way that is inclusive. A way that helps me to embody this idea of the 3 marks of existence in the Buddhist practice, that life is impermanent, unsatisfactory, and selfless. Now, for some folks, that might be like, oh God, I hope it's not like that. But remember, that's not a mandate, it's just an observation. And when we can see it, then it opens up a whole new way of seeing. We begin seeing the world through Dharma eyes. Impermanence is just another way of saying everything is in the process of becoming something else. It's not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing. Everything is a process, including ourselves. We're not a stagnant thing that's stuck. We're always unfolding with each and every moment. And that unsatisfactoriness, that when the Buddhist practice talks about life is impermanent, unsatisfactory, and selfless, that part of it that says life is unsatisfactory is simply a way of helping us to see the nature of mind. The nature of mind is that it always wants things to be different than the way they are. And when you see that, you wake up and you realize that I am creating my own reality. And the selfless part is exactly what I'm talking about here. The orange. We are the orange. We are a product. It's like the happy continuation day. It's why we don't say happy birthday, because who you are was never born and will never die. We enter with everything. One of my friends wrote a song, the song goes, "We are stardust." Sure. We are as natural as the eclipse. We are natural. It's so funny because we always talk about nature in the third person as if we're not a part of it. So, now I know what you're thinking. Even if we are all one, we are also separate. I mean, I don't feel pain every time somebody else stubs their toe. So how is it that we are separate bodies and also one consciousness, one vast, ever-growing and moving organism? Well, entertain, if you will, this idea of holograms. A hologram, from the Greek word holos, or total, or whole. In a hologram, every fragment contains the whole. And even the fact that our minds can conceptualize this miracle might be evidence that we are indeed holograms, or holographic anyway. In a brilliant article called "The Universe is a Hologram," Michael Talbot explains that if we try to take apart something constructed holographically, we will not get the pieces of which it is made. We will only get smaller wholes. It's kind of this idea of Indira's net. This idea that when you look upon the dew on the grass and you see a droplet, the whole world is reflected in that droplet. And there are billions of these droplets. So when you deconstruct something holographic, you don't get pieces of it that make a whole, you get a whole bunch of little holes. He describes a remarkable scientific experiment that's quite famous at this point now, in which electrons instantly communicated with each other no matter how far apart they were. The physicist David Bohm has proposed that the reason subatomic particles are able to remain in contact with another regardless of the distance separating them is not because they are somehow sending some mysterious little signal back and forth, but it's because their separateness is an illusion. So this is one reason why it is truly an amazing time to be a practitioner. This is an amazing time in history where those of us who practice Buddhism are absolutely built for these times. At some deeper level of reality, such particles are not individual entities, but are actually extensions of the same fundamental something. The Buddha shares this with us, and shares with us his experience of this, and asks us not to believe it on blind faith, but through practice, to experience this for ourselves. Every day we are learning the same thing. We are all learning the same thing. Arabs are learning this about Jews. White people are learning this about black people. Asians are learning this about Europeans. Men are learning this about women. Adults are learning this about children. Everybody is learning about it from everybody. And what we are learning is that life together is a celebration. Even grief is the same. Joy is the same. No one's life is easy down here on this planet. That is the first noble truth. And what is more worthy of our precious time here on this planet than to love each other? And the harder that is to do, the more it is worth the effort. We are becoming universal. We are the center of the universe in a universe that has no center. We are beginning to see everyone and everything as a part of us. Science is finding out more about this each and every day. Quantum physics and Buddhist monks are sitting down and having tea and finding unbelievable parallels and correlations. We are becoming more and more, and I know it doesn't seem like this at times, but we are becoming more and more like a family, and a family is not always easy. And this is a family that no one can leave. And as we become universal humans, we want more and more to be together, to create things together like harmony, cooperation, sharing, and a reverence for life. The idea of being in the same family with everyone and everything can sometimes be very satisfying, and it makes us feel good. And that is because as we learn how to be in family together, we are becoming something that we could never have dreamed. Totality. I want to share in closing this little poem for you from Joy Harjo. I think she does such a good job in this poem of kind of sharing the feeling of totality, this universalness, this oneness that we so often talk about in Buddhism. Remember the earth whose skin you are. Red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life, who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them, listen to them. They are living poems. Remember the wind, remember her voice. She knows the origins of this universe. Remember, you are all people, and all people are you. Remember, you are this universe, and this universe is you. Remember, all is in motion. All is growing. All is you. Remember, language comes from this. And remember, the dance language is. That life is. Remember. And our practice, every time we take the noble one seat and we meditate for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, and as all the phenomena comes and goes, thoughts, sounds, sensations, when we sit in that vast, open stillness, that is when we remember who we truly are. And when we know who we are, we know who everyone is. Thank you.